Good day guys, welcome to another series of Python tutorial for focus. So in this guys, in our last previous video we discussed about for loop. But in this we are going to be discussing more about while loop, because as I said earlier before, I told you guys that you have two types of loops in Python. Python has two types of loops. The first one is for loop, and then the second one is while loops. So with while loops, so we can execute a set of statements as long as the condition is also true. So something similar to for loop as well. So as long that the condition is also true, so we can continue, the loop continues to works on like that. Okay guys, let's dive into what we have today. Now let's say we have a variable called we can just say 5. So why this variable now? So we want to execute a while loop statement. So now we can just say while num, do you see that? So while num is less than or equals to 10. Now what we are trying to do here is we are verifying the conditions to verify whether 5 is less than or might be equals to 10 later in the future. But now I'm going to change these things to 0. I can just say 0 instead of using 5. So let me just say 0. So while 0 is less than equals to 5 equals to 10. So meaning that 0 can be any number later on, and it can also be 10. So it won't be greater than 10. So now let's now say, okay, why that condition is that, now let's print num. Now printing num now is we are now printing these things. Now we are not printing the 0 out. Now you notice one thing, anything that has to do with loop, so there is one thing that I need to tell you guys is loops continue to work until a condition has stopped it. So if the condition is false, the loop is going to stop. But if the condition is thoroughly true, the loops will continue to be working. Now let me show you what I mean by that. Now do you see that we have 0 0 0 0 0 is printing up on our computer without stopping, because the condition is true. 0 is less than 10, and it can also be 10 later on when it's being incremented. So that is the reason why we have 0 0 0 printed out on our console. So now let's stop the loop from working so that it won't be consuming our computer RAM. So now let's now verify a condition to say that you can now say that num equals to num, which is num. We created a new variable, so we want to say equals to num plus 1. So now what do we specify? What are we saying in essence here? What we are trying to do here is very simple. We are trying to increment num. We are trying to increment num by 1. That means if while loops goes to here, now say that while 0 is less than or equals to 10, then print 0 out. It will print 0 out. Then execute this condition and said why 0 now. Now when it has been incremented here, so it will not be 1 now, because 0 plus 1 it will be 1. So it will not say that why 1 is less than or equals to 10, print 1. It will not print 1 out. Then it will now increment 1 by another 1 by saying 1 plus 1. So it starts incremented distance until it gets to this final destination that said 10 now. So now let's run our code. Let's see what we have here. Now do you see that from 0 it increments it and add 1 to it, add another 1 to the existing number that we have here, which is 1, making 2, add another 1, making 3, add another 1, making 4, add another 1 to the existing 4, making 5, add another 1. So it's continuing to keep on adding 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 till it finish its execution at 10, because we said why num is less than or equals to 10. Actually, you can, if you don't want to write this in this format, you can increment this with a shorthand. And what is that shorthand? You can just say num equals to plus or equals to 1. It's still the same thing with what we did in the previous formats that we use, but this is just a shorthand. You can just say that. So it's still the same answer that you are going to get. If you don't want to do it that way, so you can also do the shorthands like this format. So now while loops will continue to be working until a particular condition is applied to it. So that is the reason why you have you can use while loop to iterate an item, and the condition is going to be work be working like that. And one thing that I want to tell you guys is, let's do another example. Let's say we want to perform something that said, okay, now you can just say another format that you can use for while loop is while true. If you don't want to define any conditions, if you don't want to do num equals to something, so you can just say while true. So far the condition is true, so you can just say print learning Python loops. So what you will get in return of these two statements is you are going to get I'm learning Python. It will be popping up initially and executedly like this. Now let me just say, now do you see that the thing is continuing to execute that same line of code that said I'm learning Python loop, I'm learning Python, because the condition is true. So you can just say why true is something. So, and then once the condition is true, then the code continues to be executed without stopping. That is what we called loop. We can stop the code from being executed like this. So now, so if you don't want to use a format in specifying the conditions like this, you can also try to use another format with just while true, with a boolean data type, because this condition is true. So this code is going to be work. This code is going to work like that. So guys, this is just about while loop statements in Python tutorial. But in the next video that I'm going to be releasing after this video, the next video we will be making use of while loop to build a very simple car game where I can show you how to use while loop in a real life scenario, in a real program scenario, maybe in productions. So in that example can guide you through how while loop is being used. So guys, thanks for watching this video. Meet you in the next video. Bye.